What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Vice President Lai Ching-te is set to visit Paraguay next month, and on the way, he'll stop over in the U.S. Though the details are still under wraps, the planned trip has already angered China. John Van Trieste has the report.
Next month, Taiwan's presidential hopeful Lai Ching-te will take a break from the campaign trail for a trip abroad. He's traveling to Paraguay, one of 13 countries that maintain official ties with Taiwan. And as Taiwan's vice president, Lai will represent Taipei as Paraguay inaugurates its new president, Santiago Peña. But it's Lai's planned stop in the U.S. that's been making headlines. Taiwanese officials headed to the Americas often make brief stops in the U.S. on the way. While the U.S. and Taiwan don't have an official relationship, these stops are a chance for unofficial exchanges, something that's important as Washington is Taiwan's biggest backer. Given Lai's presidential ambitions, there's speculation about what influential people he might meet while in the U.S. So far, that information is being kept under wraps.
目前预定是在14号上午抵达巴拉圭，15号出席就职典礼。那其他的行程与节目都在规划中，确定后我们会适时的对外说明。
And then there's the Chinese reaction. China claims Taiwan as its territory and has not ruled out taking the country by force. Beijing protests any interaction between Taiwanese and U.S. officials, even if the details of those visits are still unclear.
已向美方提出严正交涉。
Washington and Taiwan's foreign ministry both say the stop will just be a routine visit.
这是一个惯例，没有以前就是这个样子，现在也没有什么新话，就是这个样子，没有理由啊，也没有原因要造成这些不必要的这个骚扰。
But 6 months before Taiwan's presidential election, and with China looking on, this trip is already attracting a level of attention that's anything but normal. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
On Tuesday, Taiwan's military and special forces practiced defending against a simulated airborne attack. Our reporter Jaime Okan was there to see them in action.
Special Forces troops have just wrapped up a practice exercise here on the outskirts of New Taipei City. They trained how to defend against enemy helicopters and push back an enemy. Now, this kind of training is supposed to help practice how to respond quickly to an attack from the enemy. And it's pretty rare how Special Forces are out in the public. Similar drills were also conducted last week, but they didn't have an Air Force component to it. Now, soldiers told me that it's because last week, high school students nearby were taking college entrance exams. But now that those exams are done, the Air Force is in full swing. Fighter jets and attack helicopters were flying all around New Taipei City and making sure that they were providing cover fire for the soldiers on the ground defending against a simulated enemy attack. There was also a small radar deployed in a park nearby, making sure that no enemy aircraft were in the area attacking Taiwan's defending soldiers. This deployment drill is in preparation for the upcoming Hangguang military exercises. Now, those are Taiwan's biggest annual military drills, where the country's armed forces simulate how to defend against an all-out invasion from China. This year's drills will be the biggest in the country's history, and soldiers here are just making sure that they're ready for the real thing. Howard Zhang and Jaime Okan in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
A former U.S. Defense Secretary says that Taiwan should keep its one-year period of conscription.
I think for Taiwan to go in the opposite direction would send the wrong signal, and it really questions the resolve of people in Taiwan. The American people ask themselves, well, why should I send our sons and daughters to fight if Taiwanese boys and girls won't fight for their own country?
Mark Esper, who was Defense Secretary for the Trump administration, made the comments in an interview with the local media outlet on Monday. He suggested that Taiwan should increase its military budget and that conscription should include both men and women. The country extended its period of conscription late last year from 4 months to 1 year. But some are calling for a return to 4 months. Esper also said that one China policy should adapt to the times and that the U.S. should be clearer in its strategic goals to send a more assertive message to Beijing. As an island country, Taiwan has plenty of beaches, but many face an all too familiar problem: garbage. A round-the-island beach cleanup kicked off over the weekend to try and tackle the problem. It's an annual event, but this year's looks a little different, thanks to the participation of local temples. Yu Jinhuang reports.
Prayers with a modern twist. Worshippers use their smartphones to light digital incense, a more environmentally friendly way to pray and one that's in keeping with today's temple activity. It's all part of a nationwide beach cleanup event held annually by local NGO Rethink. The organizers enlisted temples this year, hoping to attract more volunteers. And each person is desperately needed. Marine debris per square kilometer on Taiwan's beaches is much higher than the global average. They're also hoping the gods will lend a helping hand.
他们就近在这个海岸边，其实保佑的也是这个环境海洋上面大家的就是讨海人的安全平安，但也希望就是这个保佑可以延续到这我们的环境上。
And the deity who oversees this piece of land in New Taipei? Well, it's got a reputation for being man's best friend.
These dogs make up the deity Shiba Wanggong that beach cleanup participants were just praying to. The original deity was just one dog that survived the shipwreck hundreds of years ago. While that dog has long since passed away, the deity lives on in these statues.
While the religious element is an attraction for some, many are just here to keep Taiwan's environment garbage-free. People of all ages joined the campaign for different reasons, and some can be very simple, like this first-timer.
我想要海滩就是干干净净的，让大家看到很漂亮的模样。
Then there are the long-term volunteers. Yang Junjie has been cleaning these beaches for 6 years. He said he's built connections with people through the cleanup.
来这边净滩的人，通常都不是坏人，对，那你不会用社会的那个世俗的眼光纷纷扰扰啊，来去跟人这样子沟通。我们可以避掉这些很利益的东西，我们纯粹就是来帮忙。
Whatever each volunteer's motivation is, today they only have one goal: returning this area to its natural beauty. The organizers estimated that the total garbage collected was more than 1 metric ton. It's a big number, but the organizers say the real value is not in the amount of garbage cleaned in a single day.
净滩其实还是一个教育的目的，我们希望让大家可以带到环境的第一现场，可以看到就是海洋真正的状态。那有机会就是把这份不管是感动也好，或者是可能有点愤怒的这种感觉也好，带到放在心中，回到生活里面。那可以在生活里面从垃圾的减少开始做起，那有助于更多人可以把这个海洋这个垃圾的源头给解决掉。
The NGO has worked on 2 locations in New Taipei already, and they'll be cleaning another 6 before the end of August. But their real hope is that one day, these cleanups won't be necessary at all. Kamashi and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
A government infertility subsidy is proving fruitful. The program has helped thousands of families give birth to more than 11,000 babies in the last 2 years. The National Health Administration has allocated over $120 million in subsidies since 2021. The program helps people affected by infertility get medical treatment. More than 73,000 couples have applied for the subsidies, with around 55,000 completing the treatment course. Taiwanese authorities are trying to encourage more people to have children. The country has one of the lowest birth rates in the world and is struggling with a rapidly aging population. Taiwan bagged multiple gold and silver medals at a Taekwondo competition in South Korea. 6 Taiwanese athletes took home medals at the World Taekwondo Grand Prix Challenge, an invitational for lower-ranked competitors. In the women's events, 4 Taiwanese competitors bagged 3 golds and 1 silver in their respective divisions. And in the men's categories, 2 Taiwanese martial artists faced each other in the final of the 80-kilogram division, taking the team's medal tally to 4 golds and 2 silvers overall. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we leave with images of a uniquely decorated sushi restaurant in New York. I'm Yvonne. Take care, and I'll see you next time.